Hi guys, welcome to a special episode of the Radical Latino Show. I have two very special guests with me today. They're part of an organization called Discovery for Justice. Without further ado, I'll have them introduce themselves.
Hi, this is Syed. I'm an attorney. I'm also a member of Discovery for Justice. We've been fighting for changing discovery laws in the state, and I think it's a really important fight, and we'll hope to talk about it today. Hi, my name is Julio. I'm a one-time community activist, one of the original founding members of Discovery for Justice because of an incident that covered my son here in the South Bronx, and we're trying to see if we can change this law.
Can you guys tell us a little bit more about the organization?
Sure. Well, in terms of the organization, it started because of the fact that a few of us who recognize the fact that a little unknown fact. I've been living in New York City all my life, just about. I'm 66 years old. I've been living in the South Bronx since I was 4 years old. I've been involved in many activist events, from Raising the Young Lords to today, where I'm the president of the Homeowners Association, and I'm the spearhead behind this movement to help Puerto Rico's called Respect and Justice for Puerto Rico. We're going to be calling for a National Day of Respect and Justice in October. So I've been involved in a lot of stuff. But being involved in a lot of stuff doesn't mean you know everything that's going on. Until one day, my son, who has recently graduated from Wesleyan University, comes out, he comes back home, and he leaves his apartment in the same building that I lived in, and basically goes to go buy a sandwich for lunch. He takes $5 in his pocket, no identification, because he's going to the corner, and on the way there, he meets the doorman from our building, who says, "Hey, where you going?" He says, "I'm going to go buy a sandwich down the block." This is 161st Street. Walking down towards Yankee Stadium, where most of the shops are at, to go buy a sandwich. And his friend says, "Hey, wait for me here. I got to go in there. I'll be right out." So my son waits for him outside. When his friend comes down, all of a sudden, like 3 police cars surround them. And they tell them both to empty out your pockets. To which my son says, "Why do I have to empty out my pockets? I didn't do anything. I'm just standing here." The guy says, "Well, we just saw your friend, this guy coming out of the building, and now you both are together. And that building is being surveyed as one of the areas of heavy drug trafficking." So my son still refuses to empty out his pockets. But his friend, he's a recent immigrant. He didn't know so much about the laws, and he gets scared by the police. And he puts his hand in his pocket, and he pulls out a nickel bag of marijuana. And if you know, at the time, especially, concealing of marijuana is not a problem. But if you open and you bring it out, then that's a reason for the police to arrest you. So basically, the police arrested him and was taking my son in. And my son says, "Why are you taking me in? I didn't do anything. I'm just here waiting for him. I'm on my way to go get some lunch." And the police officers tell him, "Well, nah, we're just going to get a desk appearance ticket, maybe, or we'll just let you go because we can just say you're trespassing. But other than that, you're okay." So my son had no choice but to go in this van, which basically was going around the community, picking up young people, like almost like vultures, looking around where in the schoolyard. They had a kid who must have been, like my son told me, 14 years old, in chancletas, who left his house to go buy his mother something in the grocery store. And as he walked by, there was some of his friends at the stoop. And right there, boom, the cops came, and 2 or 3 of them had some stuff. They took all like 7 or 8 of them.
Was that part of the TNT?
That was part of this whole thing that they had even before this other they were arresting people for any reason whatsoever, just because they basically needed to get numbers up, I guess, in the police department, because these were what I call BS arrests. But the point is, with my son, they never let him make a phone call. So this was like 12 in the afternoon. Now it's almost 12 midnight. Nobody knows where my son is. His mother's going crazy. His girlfriend at the time, now his wife, calls me like 5 or 6 times asking me, "Yo, do you know where your son is? Because it's strange. TV on, the door's open, and he doesn't answer his phone because he left his phone here." So now we're all worried, thinking what could have happened to my son, because it took him in almost 12 hours. I make some phone calls. I call my friends who are police officers. I call my friends who work in Bronx Lebanon Hospital admitting to see if maybe, God forbid, he was hit by has been arrested. He's at the 44th precinct waiting for arraignment next day. So I go to the 44th precinct because I'm known, because I've been involved in a lot of events in the community. You know, I asked to speak to the community affairs officers, who they finally came down and they got me the 2 officers who did the arrest. And both officers, una Latina and an African American, are telling me that my son was arrested with possession of narcotics with intent to sell.
Wow.
To which I told them, you both are bugging. I raised my voice. I said, both of you are bugging. If you're telling me that my son has had drugs and intent to sell, because my son, I know exactly what he's about. He might smoke a joint here in a while, but you're telling me that my son had narcotics with intent to sell, you're both lying. And they both try to calm me down, telling me, listen, sometimes as parents, we don't know what our kids do. And I tell them, man, the hell with you. I know what my kid does. I'm one of those parents that have been involved with my son since he was born. So don't tell me what my son doesn't do and does do. So bottom line, they said, well, listen, you know, I guess we're gonna when you go to the trial, he's gonna be arraigned today. And then I asked him, how come you would never let him make a phone call? Which that was another issue. We got over that. And bottom line, I left there very frustrated, very angry. We go to the court. My son is being arraigned, and the judge tells my son, he looks at this record and he says, listen, you're a Wesleyan graduate. You've never been in problem with the law. You haven't done anything major. So I'm going to give you a desk appearance ticket to come back. And if you stay clean for 12 months, you know, this will wait. And we looked at each other like saying, what are you telling us? My son stays clean. And you're going to give him a desk appearance ticket for something he didn't do. So he said, no, we're not going to accept that. And the judge says, you can't stay clean for 12 months? And attorney answered, well, he's not going to stay clean of anything because he didn't do anything. So the judge got angry and he slammed the hammer.
The gavel,
on the desk. And he says, well, I guess, you know, we're going to have to go to trial. So let's put this to trial.
Wow.
And that's what we experienced, something that has been going on for years here and it's still going on, where basically, thank God that my son, because he has a good record, he never was arrested, he was a Wesleyan graduate, and even to that, the cops were saying, yeah, he was very respectful and stuff like that. He was able to walk out that day without any bail or anything. But this is what happened. For 2 years, my son had to give up some work assignment. He's a producer, film producer. And he had to give up work assignments sometimes because every time in those 2 years that they had a trial, they had a hearing, he had to come back. He had to be here for that trial, for that hearing. He went to about 3, 4, almost 5 different times that he was brought to trial for the trial to be suspended until the next time. So the next time, finally, after 2 years, almost 2 years and 2 months, they finally decided, well, we knew all along that he was innocent because they had no evidence.
Yeah.
But my son lost 2 years, 2.5 years of progressing his work to be able to advance in his area because of the fact that we thought about what happened to Khalif Browder, where at the opposite end is a young man who basically is accused of something he didn't do, but unlike my son, he did not have the ability to have bail, and all he had to raise was $5,000 for bail for a BS, supposedly stealing a backpack.
Yeah.
And then he winds up going to jail for almost 3 years plus, right? Because you know how long it takes to go to trial.
Especially in the Bronx.
Yes, New York City is incredible with this. And then finally the kid comes out after 3 years being traumatized, commits suicide.
Yeah.
And this is a situation that has happened. And I saw the 2 extremes. I saw the extreme of what happened to my son at that moment. And at that moment I spoke to a good friend of mine, Judge Tapia, who advised me, who told me that, you know, he was at that time in the criminal court system, and explained to me some of the things that goes on. And as a result of what happened then, we decided that we needed to start an organization to address this issue because I was totally oblivious to the fact that this is taking place in one of the most liberal states in the country.
Yeah.
That young people are being put in jail for things that they probably, majority of them did not do. Or your understanding of what Julio is talking about, just give you guys some context, right? So, and I'm a lawyer, I'm a practicing attorney, and you know, I've done cases, I've done criminal trials, and so forth. And the thing that I guess people should be aware of is what the rule is, and I guess what Julio was sort of talking about was in New York, what happens is, and this doesn't happen in 46 6 other states. New York is one of the 4 states that still does this to as the degree as we do it. But basically, in New York, you're not required. New York prosecutors are not required to turn over evidence until time of trial. Right? That's what it simply comes down to. Is New York doesn't require prosecutors to turn over evidence until time of trial. So what that means is, in Julio's case, in Julio's son's case, the police said that they had all this evidence because they kept bringing him back to court, but they weren't required to turn over evidence until trial started. So they can technically keep doing it until they see the trial. And what happens is if you don't have bail, like in Khalif Barak's case, this kid's sitting in jail for 3 years. They kept making this kid come back to court while keeping him in prison. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to change the law, and it's a basic change, which is what we're saying is, prosecutors should be required to turn over evidence as soon as arraignment, right?
Yeah, so that's basically like the lawyer could basically keep on extending a 30 for 30 multiple times, correct?
Right, exactly. And what happens is, evidence is sort of the truth, right? Evidence is basically the truth, right? This is how you go to jail. This is how your freedom gets taken away. It's based on what evidence is out there. And so if you're not required to turn over evidence, then it causes a lot of issues. And what happened to Julio's son, what happened to Khalif Barak, is some of the examples. There's a lot more that's out there, and we can get into it later if you want to talk about it. But this is sort of a fundamental issue. We think that's sort of, it affects everything in a criminal case.
Gotcha. What made you, as a lawyer, get involved with this organization?
Well, it's just sort of, as a lawyer, it's sort of obvious to us. If you ever been in a courtroom, it's obvious that, prosecutors basically, and here's the point that you have to understand and why prosecutors want this, right? And the same thing they wanted, the reason they wanted Julio's son's case was because prosecutors want to use evidence as leverage, right? Because what they want to say is, like, listen, I've got all this evidence, right? And if you don't plead guilty, we're going to go to trial and I'm going to bury you, I'm going to take you and lock you up for X number of years, right? And that's what they were doing in Julio's son's case. I mean, they kept basically prolonging it longer and longer because they were hoping that he would plead guilty. Julio's son, was persistent and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. But for the majority of people, that's not an option,
Gotcha.
To be able to leave work and sort of make these appearances or while you're in jail, like in Khalif Barak's case. Khalif was, again, locked up for 3 years, and he spent those 3 years awaiting trial. And the easiest thing for him to would have done was to say, you know what, I did it, and I'm going to plead guilty, and rather than wait for trial. And that's what they're hoping, is that as long as they don't have to disclose the evidence, because once the evidence gets disclosed, then everybody knows what's on the table.
Got it.
You don't really have the same sort of, leverage. The prosecutors don't have the same leverage as they did before the evidence was disclosed.
Got it. And to make it clear for everybody that's listening, this law that we're referring to is blindfold law. And
so it's what it's called, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's called CPL, Criminal Procedure Law 240, right?
Yeah.
Which is what's specifically it's in the books, but we've labeled it the blindfold law, right? And when we call it the blindfold law, is because it's basically what you're doing is you're blindfolding defendants and telling them to go into court and fight for their freedom while they're blindfolded. By blindfolded, we mean that they don't know what the evidence is out there.
Gotcha.
Right?
Do you know what the origin of this law, how it came to be?
Yeah, so again, this came in this. It's been around for really since the beginning, right? And in the 50s and the 60s and 70s, when this law was actually sort of implemented, was when the Rockefeller stuff was going on. Governor Rockefeller was in charge, and the mantra then was basically lock away the keys and lock people up and throw away the keys, right? And you had sort of the drug sort of thing going on in the 70s and 80s, and you had all this crime, and no one, people didn't care if people were innocent or not, as long as someone was paying for something, right? And it has a lot of the roots in racism. Most people that were getting locked up analysis has to begin with that, because if it was happening the same way it's happened, if it would happen to the white community, we wouldn't see this law exist much longer. But the people that are really affected by this more than anybody else are black and brown folks.
Gotcha.
It's important to highlight what just finished saying, because the more we got involved in this, the more we saw a lot of other things uncovered. Like you mentioned cash crop. Let me explain what that cash crop means.
Yeah, please do, please.
It means that in the old days, my father, who came here as a migrant farm worker, would go upstate New York to pick strawberries, apples, and crops upstate. That was the industry. Today, they don't have those industries. They have mechanisms that can do that. They don't need all these, employees like my father, who came as a migrant farm worker from Puerto Rico to work in the Hudson Valley and in Long Island. So today, in order for money to be made up there, they have prisons. It's developed. What's happening in this country is a prison industrial complex, which is a business. So the situation of justice, and when they turn it over to the prison system, it's now a business. I mean, some of these businesses actually trade on Wall Street.
Yeah.
So you got prisons that are run by private corporations. And what do you need to be able to be successful in prison? If McDonald's makes money by selling what? Hamburgers.
Yeah.
Macy's makes money by customers coming in and buying apparel and utilities for their house. Well, how does a prison make money? If you don't have prisoners, you don't make more money.
Yeah.
So therefore, how do you feed prisoners? If you're going to wait for somebody to actually grab a gun and go to a bank and rip off the bank, or you're going to wait for the person to commit a crime that has committed a violent crime, yeah, those crimes are committed. But if you compare those crimes to the number of people that are incarcerated, particularly young black and Latino and poor white, you would see the disparities are incredibly, there's a wide gap between non-violent crime offenders who are in jail for BS crimes that supposedly were committed, and people who actually should be in jail because they beat somebody up with a pipe or because they actually grabbed a gun and did something. So our kids have become the cash crop.
Yeah.
I know police officers, lieutenants, who have quit and have left the police force because it was so frustrated when they go in to make an arrest. This is a real example of one friend of mine who was a lieutenant in the police department who told me, Julio, I can't take no more. He just went and left. And he said, I arrested a guy in the South Bronx who had a gun. And the gun was unmarked. They had chiseled off the markings, which means that gun was probably used
defaced. Yeah, they defaced the gun. Yeah.
He brings the guy into the precinct, and he's booking him, and he's doing the paperwork. And as he's doing that, a rookie white cop comes in and brings about 12 young Latinos and blacks that he went to a schoolyard with kids who were playing basketball, and he lined them all up. These kids didn't do anything. They were just playing basketball. Somebody might have complained that they were, playing basketball or making some noise. I don't know, whatever excuse the cops gave. But they went there and they told all these kids who don't know the law, like my friend, my son's friend who didn't know the law, when the cops said empty out your pockets. If you go to a schoolyard in the South Bronx at any time, bro, playing basketball, you tell any of those kids to empty out their pockets, there's going to be at least one kid's going to have a joint.
Yeah, of course. And a couple of years ago, a couple of cops actually started suing the city because of racial discrimination.
Yes, and what happened with this particular police officer, a friend of mine, was that this particular cop arrested 12 young Latinos and blacks and brought them in, right? Marching in, and the captain walks over to my friend, taps him on the shoulder, and says, "That's an arrest."
Wow.
And my friend looked at the captain and said, "This son of a bitch." I arrested a guy who had a gun, and I'm not getting any accolades. And this white rookie cop comes in and brings in 12 kids, and majority of them innocent, but that's an arrest.
Do you think this is a very sneaky way to enforce stop and frisk, even though it's not being implemented?
Well, let me say this, right? And it's just sort of obvious. It comes, I think we're sort of talking about all these things that are happening, and all these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? This law doesn't exist in a vacuum. There's things that are going around, and our communities understands that, right? But 95% of cases never go to trial, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. 95% of cases never go to trial, right? 70% of people in the state that are being held in prison right now are not found guilty of a single thing. Okay?
Yeah.
They're awaiting trial, and they're still waiting for the case to be sort of be sent to trial. So when you have those numbers, and you have this law where basically prosecutors are not required to use it, I mean, these are stop and frisk and all these issues that you're talking about are it's being used. This law is being used to enforce false convictions, getting people to plead guilty to things they haven't done.
Yeah.
It's being used to create it causes destruction. Anytime you plead guilty to anything, a criminal offense, it causes your life is disturbed. You end up having a record.
Yeah, of course.
You get a job afterward. I mean, we all know the effect that it has eventually. But and you're right, absolutely. That when you discuss stop and frisk, or also whether something is found or not found, they can hold you until trial, and they can say, we have all this evidence, and hope that you plead guilty. And
yeah,
most people unfortunately do it.
And as a lawyer, what do you think the percent? Just a guesstimate, the percentage of plea deals being accepted by these innocent people. What do you think the percentage is?
Well, we don't know, right? And there's no way of knowing, really. And so if someone, technically pleads anything, it's just no way of knowing. But but you do have to question the system where you can't see what evidence is being used against you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Basically, pleading is something without knowing what the evidence is. You're blindfolded and you're told to defend for yourself. I mean, the position you're put in is, a lot of times this happens, right? The DA comes in and says, you know what, I'll give you this one-time offer, right? Instead of 10 years that you're facing, I'll give you 6 months in jail, just so
Yeah, of course.
You're done. And so listen, if I'm in that situation where I'm facing 10 years and I don't know what's being used against me, I don't know who said what. Let's say, for example, I'm an innocent person sitting in jail. I don't know if some crazy neighbor or some random person is saying all these things. I don't know if the cop is going to plant something on me. I don't know anything.
Yeah, of course.
And so you're afraid of facing 10 years. So you're basically told either 10 years or 6 months. And especially if you've been sitting in jail for X number of months, whatever, you'll plead guilty to something. You know why? Because you just want to get out of there. But the point in reference to what just said is very important.
Yeah.
Because we have to understand that this problem is not a problem that's basically one particular problem, like as I just said. It's a multifaceted problem that has enhanced itself into the very fiber of our society. Because when everybody recognized that stop and frisk was the vehicle that was being used to be able to allow for so many blacks and Latinos to be arrested for BS charges, and finally the statistics came out after years of this taking place, what happened? It stopped, right? Supposedly. But did it stop? No, it didn't stop. The police found other ways to still go ahead and bust people for marijuana charges. Look at the statistics. Number of people that were arrested, that were stopped, that were harassed right after stop and frisk was stopped. Majority were black and Latino. They were not white.
Yeah.
Until it was brought up to the city council, and the city council then got on the bandwagon and then forced the pressure on the police commissioner and the mayor, where they came out, they had the big press conference, and then they basically agreed that yes, this was still going on, and to some degree, and then they put some pressure on the police department, where the commissioner then came out with a regulation to say, hey, stop focusing on this issue of marijuana and start looking at other stuff.
What advice can you give someone in a predicament like this, like your son was facing, or all these other people are facing? What advice can you give them?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that we did. One thing was that we could not fight the system, right? My son pled innocent. He suffered the challenges of going through a system that basically was accusing him of doing something that he never did, but because he's in the system, you're already there. So he had to go through 2 years and something of going through this, trial system. But I tell you what we did. Right after that, they found him innocent. We sued the city of New York. We sued the police department. And my son won a settlement. He got money back from the city. He got money back from the police department for all the stuff that they made him go through. But that's one of the things that people need to do is if they have to know their rights. If they were found innocent on something, sue. The way I guess I would answer your question would be, I would say, I can't tell you what to do. I mean, I don't know someone's situation. I mean, if you have parents like Julio who are going to be there for you and going to fight for you and have the monetary means to fight for you and go to court and do all those things, then fight the case, But a lot of times, when we see this too often, majority of the courts are filled with poor black and brown bodies, and then they don't have the same options sometimes. They don't have the same resources. So to be, I guess the honest answer would be, it depends on your situation. If you can fight the case and you haven't done anything, please do. In all means, do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what the prosecutors say that this misdemeanor or this felony or even this ACOD, which is this doesn't really affect you. It does, and the world continuously. You never know what future things happen, and so if you have the money and the resources to fight the case, do so. But if you don't, I get it. A lot of times people don't. A lot of times, God forbid, you're sitting in Rikers or some other god-awful place, and you just want to get out. And if someone's offering you something, if you haven't done something, then you plead something.
Yeah.
You're innocent. You're sitting in Rikers. You don't have the resources for bail. You don't have anything, but you're sitting in Rikers, and you have the pressure of your mother, who's telling you, salte de la casa, tú no hiciste nada, you didn't do anything. But all they want to do, they brought the charges down to, a minor charge. Take the charge. You can walk out of jail. Your wife, you have a kid maybe, and your wife or your girlfriend is on your case because she has, she needs somebody to be a breadwinner. Where they have resources. They're not getting any resources because you're in jail. I mean, there's so much pressure on a young person who's been arrested that, they're being forced. And so a lot of them basically then plead to a lesser charge. But what they don't know is what we said earlier, when you plead to a lesser charge, now you're going to a different type of prison.
Yeah.
You're no longer in the prison, inside a cell, but now you're in a prison in society where you're not going to be able to get student loans, you're not going to be able to get insurance, you're not going to be able to join the armed forces, you're not going to be able to get a job, and it goes on and on. You live in public housing, huh?
Yeah.
You were living in public housing, and you came out, and there's a charge on you, depending on what the charge was. You might not be able to stay in that public housing with your mother or with your girlfriend. That come out as a result of pleading guilty to something that you did not do also is a factor which a lot of these young people don't know until after.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, when the judge, like he told my son, it's just a desk appearance ticket. Oh, it sounds so nice. It doesn't even sound, it sounds like a ticket you get in your car, right?
Yeah.
You go and you pay it, it's over. No, it's not. It's not. Because you get a desk appearance ticket for something minor, which you can walk, you go home.
Yeah.
Right? But then, 3 months later, you're walking down the street and you see a police officer who's harassing and probably banging somebody across the car, and a crowd develops around the police officer, and you're one of those people that reacts to the way this police officer is manhandling this person, this woman, this young girl, and you scream out, "Hey, yo, leave alone!"
And you get arrested and back into the system. Yeah.
Disturbing the peace and preventing an arrest. Now you go back. You had a desk appearance ticket, and now guess what? Now you gotta go to jail.
Yeah. Now, let's focus on the organization, Discovery for Justice. I wanna. We already talked about how problematic this law is and how we should eradicate it. And now let's focus on the solution. So, what is the Discovery for Justice? What are they doing to achieve their goals?
Well, before you get into the technicalities, let me say one of the first things that we started as a parent and as people. We needed to educate people to the law. I didn't know that. Look, I got a master's degree. I run businesses, and I didn't know the law. People don't know that this law exists. So the first thing we wanted to do is educate the people. Go out there and let as many people know that this blindfold law, which is basically what it is a law that's unjust. Everywhere that I went to, and I spoke to people in the streets, in St. Mary's Park, on Cortona Park, and just spoke to people on the benches. And when I said that, bro, 9 times out of 10, people will come out and say, "Yo, that happened to my son, that happened to my nephew, that happened to my grandson, that happened to my cousin." A lot of people don't know about that. So that was the first phase of what we wanted to do with Discovery and Justice. first thing we have to do is educate the public, because I think that's the only way that this law survives, right? I think the DAs rely on people just not knowing about it and being able to get away with this. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, the DAs try to make it, and it's sort of, it becomes a little bit technical sometimes if you think about it, but it's really not. It's a very sort of simple and easy thing to understand, which is that prosecutors are not required to turn over evidence until the trial starts, right? So our goal has been just to keep repeating that over and over again, which is, like, think about the implications that has, I mean, think about the number of guilty pleas people plead guilty to because they don't know what the evidence is because you're blindfolded, right?
Yeah.
Think about the fact that if you do go to trial, your attorney is not given evidence or until the trial starts in many cases. So how do you defend yourself? Let's say you were charged with a serious crime. Let's say you're charged with a murder charge, or if you had, some type of anything that's, 15 to 20 years, and your attorney's only getting the evidence when the trial starts. Think about how is the attorney supposed to defend you? He doesn't know who the witnesses are, and he's basically given all this information when literally the day of the trial, which is what happens quite often, and it used to happen more in the Bronx. I know DA Darcel has changed that. So our goal has sort of been just to get people to understand what this law is, and then how really it affects people.
Gotcha.
We're also lobbying. We're trying to, lobby within the state officials, because this law can only be changed by legislation at the state level. And we got the assembly more or less on board with this, but it's just been bottlenecked at the Senate side, where a lot more Republicans basically reside, and they've been the ones who basically blocking a lot on having this come up out of committee, so that we can get the support for this. And right now, I got to tell you, I got to be honest, a good majority of these Republicans are not going to go for that law. They basically want to keep it as is, because there's another factor also involved, the lobbying that's taking place between the correction officers, between the law enforcement units that are all benefiting from the fact of the amount of prisoners that are being pumped into, upstate New York, into these prisons. I mean, it's a business. Even, for example, a little town upstate New York that might have a population of about maybe 3,000-4,000, but you got another 3,000-4,000 prisoners, and the total population of that little municipality has just increased by double. So now you have a municipality that can say they have a population now of 8,000. So guess what? They get benefits from the state for sanitation, for all the benefits of that city. They get it for 8,000 people, but in reality, it's only 4. So that's un guiso de su madre. That's like a 3-card mafia.
Yeah. Do you think taking it to the Supreme Court will do any help?
So actually, just so you know, they've actually tried to take it to Supreme Court. It's been ruled basically that this has to be changed in the state level, because the procedural issue, it's a state procedural issue, so the states have to decide, and by the state, it has to be done by the legislative body. And so, it has to be done on the state Senate side. That's sort of what's been holding us back. And I just want to clarify something. This isn't really, it's weird, but this really hasn't been a Republican and Democratic issue for the majority of the country. I mean, 46 other states do it in better than New York does at this point. And those 46 other states, a lot of states, you have Texas, and Governor Perry at that point, he's working for under Trump at this point, but Governor Perry, whose policy in Texas, whose policy was, try 'em and fry 'em, they passed legislation having open discovery. So, let's be clear that this is not a Republican Democratic issue. Really, it just comes down to its fundamental fairness, and I think that's the thing that we all need to understand.
Got it. I also heard, I don't know if this is true, but maybe you could, clarify. I also heard that recently we're supposed to, New York State is supposed to be, getting their budget together. Would this be an opportunity to maybe eradicate this law if New York State is trying to, when it's already going to that time to redo the budget?
So just so you know, and just a little bit of background. So what's happening right now, and Julio's absolutely correct. The assembly. So in the state level, you have the state assembly, which is made based on population, and then you have the Senate, and then you have the governor. So, normally the way the laws work is you go through, the assembly, then you go through the Senate, they both pass a bill, and then they agree on a bill, and then Cuomo would technically sign it. What the issue has been, and unfortunately it's been in New York for quite a long time at this point, almost 40, 50 years, is that the Senate has been controlled by the Republicans. So what that means is, it's hard to pass any progressive legislation, anything that's, anything left, basically, because the Senate, it won't be able to pass through Senate, because the Senate has been, for the last 50 years, has been controlled by the Republicans. So one mechanism of getting the laws through which is what Cuomo has done, and he's tried to continue doing, which is he puts it in his budget. He puts it as a non-budgetary item, and he forces a vote. He tells Republicans that in order to get something done, that we have to get these certain laws that he's advocating. So he actually did put it in his budget this year, and he was the first governor in almost 50 years to recognize this as being an issue. So we're very thankful of him for doing that. And so it was tried, but it unfortunately didn't go through. So we're still waiting to happen. But technically, it needs to go through. It would have to go through eventually through the Senate. And
Gotcha. Also, by any chance, is there a donation page on the website?
We do. Yeah, excellent. So we have it. Please go to it, and we also have fundraisers. And we would appreciate and support and greatly, acknowledge, anybody that can help out, because, we definitely need to raise funds. We make cards, we give them out for free. We try to put stuff wherever we go to try to get, people to get more information, because as I said earlier, man, we need to just educate people.
Gotcha. Syed, tell people how to reach you if they want to get more information.
The easiest thing is you go to the website, and there's a contact page, and you just send us an email. And again, our webpage is discoveryforjustice.org. That's discoveryforjustice.org. And there's a contact page, so just email us on that. And then one thing I sort of want to be clear. I know we sort of talk a lot about on the left, and I can tell that we're sort of very concerned with what's going on with our communities, and then we sort of get into these conversations, and we sort of just talk about it, and we don't do anything about it. This is one of those opportunities, I think, that this can get done this year, hopefully, and it just needs people's attention. We need to sort of focus in and say, let's change this, and there's a lot of momentum behind it, because I think people are finally paying attention. So, and this, this law is sort of very, very fundamental. This is sort of the biggest thing that if it changes this year, this could be the biggest change that's happened in criminal justice really in quite a long time, because this fundamentally affects everything. And from a legal perspective, I can tell you that. So it's important that we get involved, and we meet twice a month, twice a month, and our meetings are every other first and third Tuesdays of the month. Tuesdays of the month, and you can contact us again by email. You can send us an email and let us know if you want to get involved. We're also going to be having a fundraiser July 14th. You're going to be seeing updates on our webpage on that. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. We have a pretty active account on Facebook. We're Discovery for Justice. If you just put in your search, it'll come up. And also on Twitter, we're on there as well. So, it's important that everyone gets involved and sort of brings light to this issue, because that's really what's sort of holding us back at this point is, people not being aware of what this law is. Because I think as soon as people become aware, I think everyone sort of fundamentally realizes how unfair this law really is, and how important it is for us to change it at this point.
Is there any way for the people to reach you, Julio?
Yeah, well, I'm an open person, man. I'm on a Facebook page. It's just reach out to Julio Pabon.
Julio Pabon, right?
I'm involved in a couple of other things. As a result, everybody hits me up on that.
Gotcha. You guys got anything to plug? Your books or anything?
Well, I know that's kind of a hint towards me, right? Yeah, I'm happy to announce that my book has just been, I've been awarded. I'm now considered an award-winning author. I have been awarded the prestigious Latin American International Latino Book Awards. I have to go to Los Angeles on September 8th to accept it. I wrote a book, a true story, South Bronx. I
Yeah.
Even the Cubans, it was Puerto Ricans, who basically were going through their own revolution in 1990, and we just reacted to an insult by Mayor Giuliani at the time. And as a result of that led to a series of events that is so almost comical, but at the same time, it was almost like a horror that I got myself involved in. And I thought that every time I told the story verbally to people could not believe it and say, bro, you need to write that. And I finally did. And it has become a little bestseller. It's called Knockout Fidel Castro Visits the South Bronx.
Gotcha.
It's available on Amazon.
Gotcha. So get that book, people. If you guys want to find out more information, discoveryforjustice.org. And I'd like to thank my two special guests. Thank you very much for finding the opportunity to come and talk about a very important issue.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us, man. I want to congratulate you for having the foresight to think about this issue that affects so many people, and we need to get it out. So thank you.
Yeah, and absolutely. Again, education and sort of understanding what it is I think the best way to fight this. I think as soon as people get what this law is and how it sort of unjustly affects so many, I think we're going to change it. So thank you for having us and the opportunity to speak about this.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that very special episode. Once again, I'd like to thank my two special guests, Julio and Syed, for finding the time to speak out about this law that's unknown in our community and talking a little bit more about the organization. If you'd like to reach out to the organization, go to discoveryforjustice.org. That's discoveryforjustice.org. They got their Facebook and Twitter linked up. You can also make a donation in their website. Everything is all linked up for them. If you want to reach out to Syed, his email is also in that website. And also Julio. Shouts out to my man Julio. Go check out his book, Knockout. It's on Amazon. I'll put all the link on the description on the podcast and also on YouTube. But I want to give a special shout out. Because if it wasn't for this person, this whole interview wouldn't have happened. Edgar Luciano Leon. Yo, what's poppin', homie? You can also reach out to me to radical_Latino_. That's for Twitter and Instagram. You could reach out to me, let me know what y'all thinking, all that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this very special interview, alright? I'm out. Peace.